Welcome back to the Girls Lounge with Liz and KT. This is our second episode. Um, and this is our third time recording now, but third time's the charm.
Yeah, we've had some difficulties today.
Let's just say the microphone hates me today, but it's okay. We're here again. So today's episode, we're going to be focusing on some unpopular opinions. We're going to be doing some unpopular bookish opinions, but then we're also going to do some unpopular opinions that we have just in general. So we're really excited about this episode. And yeah, anything you want to add, Kennedy?
Yeah, before we get into the episode, make sure you leave a review and rate our podcast on Apple and Spotify, preferably 5-star review. Helps us out a lot. And go check us out on YouTube as well. All links will be in the show notes.
And as always, we're going to go ahead and start with our little life update segment. So take it away, Kennedy.
So, since the last time you guys heard from me, I have actually started summer classes. So, at my university, it's typically only like 3 to 4 weeks that you take a class in the summer. And so, I'm taking two classes that are both 3 weeks long, currently in the second week. And it is a lot of work, which is expected because we're taking a whole semester worth of work and putting it into 3 weeks. But you know what? I'm not complaining too much because I'm getting them over and done with. Because I'm taking business negotiations, that means I don't have to take this other class that really would have just sent me off the edge. So we're grateful for that. And I like how summer classes allows me to have something to do during the day so I don't feel completely useless and lazy. And it just gives me some sort of routine and just something to do, which I like.
Can I just say 3 weeks for one class is actually crazy. I don't know how you're going to be doing that, but sending you the good vibes.
Thanks. I'll need it.
So my little life update is I recently started my internship. Luckily my internship is pretty flexible, so I'll be doing some in-person hours as well as some virtual hours. So I've just been kind of building my routine with that, getting back into the swing of things. And then my next little life update is I got a haircut. I'm officially entering my bob era. I have been considering this for months and months and months now. I made a post, I think late last year on my spam account if I should get a haircut or not. And the votes were 50-50. With the summer starting and the heat turning up, I decided I'm going to chop off my hair and I've officially entered the bob era.
Yeah, and I had to say, I was definitely one of the people that was like, grow it out. Long hair is a vibe. And I do have to say, her bob looks fire. So good choice on Liz for the bob. And let's just say, she just like popped it up on our friend group. Like 1 minute she's just chilling with long hair, and the next thing you know, we're getting a picture with her hair just all chopped off. And I was like, oh, at least it looks good.
I just had to keep y'all suspense and everything. Keep y'all on your toes. So next up, we're gonna go into our favorites of the week. Go ahead and take it away, Kennedy.
Okay, so I have a lot of random ones this week, so bear with me, but trust they're all good. So, first is Oscar Piastri, plain and simple. Now, we're going to get into F1 talk, which some of you might not like, some of you might love, but you know what? It's our podcast, and I'm trying to get us invited places, so bear with me. So, if you don't know who Oscar Piastri is, he is the other driver for McLaren. If you listen to our last podcast episode, we talked about the Miami Grand Prix and how Lando won, and Lando is the other driver for McLaren. And I think I might have even mentioned, like, yeah, I like Oscar. Like, he's becoming one of my favorites in terms of his driving. Like, he's a really good driver. But recently, you guys, he has really just shown his personality more. This is like his second year, I think, in F1. So, he was a little bit more like shy and reserved, and he just kind of is like that, at least to like the public. But he's just showing a lot more of his personality, and I really like it. Especially because he has like this ongoing joke where wherever they go, he's like, "Oh, I'm like 1/16 or whatever country they're going to." And this week it's Monaco. And it was funny because he was like, "I'm gonna search my ancestry to see if I'm like part Monegasque." I know they say it really weird. And it's funny because Charles Leclerc, he's Monegasque, and he was like, "I'll adopt you." And it was just like really funny. So Oscar Piastri, I wasn't familiar with your game. I'm sorry for doubting you, but you're really funny. And then next, we're going to talk about the YouTubers I've been loving recently. So first we're gonna go with Tamara Aviani. She is about me and Liz's age. She's 20, born and raised in Miami, and her vlogs are just the best ever. Great vibes, great energy. Her editing's really good. And she's actually really funny as well. Like I genuinely be like laughing out loud. And I'm just so jealous. Like I just wish I could just like wake up, go to the beach, and it's just nice weather all the time. Like, girl, I'm trying to live your life. And I feel like if I were to live in Miami, like her life would be what I would want. Like going to the beach and then just like later in the day, going out, getting dressed up, and having nice dinner with my friends. So yeah, totally recommend you check her out. And then next is Fernanda Ramirez, specifically her podcast. She has a podcast called A Better You, and it's mostly, about becoming the better version of yourself and just being that girl. And I love it. She just recently uploaded an episode and on her podcast that's all about reclaiming your energy. And she went a lot into how to figure out where you want your energy to go and where you just want to take less energy out of. And it really helped me a lot. And I think if you're in a bit of a slump or a rut, that episode will be very helpful because I definitely took a lot out of it. And then next is my friend Abby Snap Stories. Well, me and Liz's friend. She's currently studying abroad in Europe right now, specifically Germany. But then she said something about Austria. I think they might be close to each other. But listen, don't take that as Bible because I'm not a geographer. And it's just really cool to see all the differences between Europe and America and just like the different fashion, food, all that. Super interesting. And then next is about food because we're having a big back summer out here. We didn't have enough time for the summer body. So, we're just going to embrace the big backness this year. And I've just really been obsessed with making myself like a cute little brunch because, I usually don't be eating that early because I'm never hungry that early. But I like having bagels with strawberry cream cheese and then banana on top. Fire. And then next, I also like having vanilla yogurt with granola, which is also fire. I actually just had that today before recording, and it was a really good snack. So you should definitely make those.
So before I get into my favorites, just to touch base on some of Kennedy's, I have been slacking when it comes to watching my YouTube videos. I think I'm like 2 weeks at least behind on my YouTube feed. So I will definitely be checking out the YouTubers that you mentioned because I just need some new good vibes all around. So going into some of my favorites, I've been really enjoying going on some daily walks. With like daily walks in general, just hitting 10,000 steps is my goal every day. I saw on TikTok something about like hitting 10,000 steps and like how it's healthy for you and blah 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 blah. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try that. And I've been pretty consistent. I think I've only missed one day since I started going on my daily walks, and I try to hit like 3 miles on my daily walks. And I've been going on them with my mom lately, and just something about just like being outside, it feels really nice. And lately, I haven't even like really been listening to anything in my ears while I do my walk. I just be like listening to the birds and I don't know, the nature vibes or whatever. So I've been really enjoying going on them daily walks. Going along with that, I've also been really enjoying waking up early. And by early, I'm gonna say early-ish because you're not gonna catch me up at 8 a.m. But like I'll be up at 9 a.m. at least. Small steps, small steps. And then, kind of similar to Kennedy, going off of her, I have also been really enjoying making myself a good breakfast or brunch. Something about just waking up early, going downstairs, making myself a meal and everything is just really nice. A nice little routine that I have going. Some of my favorite meals that I've been making is like a good egg sandwich, a bagel with fruit on it, like Kennedy, some oatmeal, and then I also like making myself a chai latte. Now, I'm not no barista or nothing. I just put it like in the Keurig machine and call it a day. But it just be hitting the spot. And then my last favorite, just kind of going along with the daily walks, is just being outside. I feel like the past 2 weeks, it's been like rainy, but not rainy, but just like, I don't know, mid weather. But right now, the sun is out, it is shining, and it's finally starting to feel like summer. So those are my favorites personally so far.
Yeah, and I'm like, I need to get on Liz's level and go on my daily walks, waking up early. I mean, I've been trying to wake up early considering I'm doing school, but you know, I am known to just, turn off my alarm and roll over right back to sleep. And even today, I'll try to wake up early, which I did, but then I laid in bed for a bit, finally got up, did my walk, came back, and then I ended up falling asleep. So, we're trying to get there, but yeah, I definitely need to be better.
It's the small steps. Today, this morning, actually, when I got on my phone, I was so surprised because our group chat with our friends, it's like everybody was up and going, and it was like 9 a.m. Like it wasn't too early, but it was early for our group chat. I remember I even had to like go in there and ask. I was like, "Did y'all like pull an all nighter? Are you like waking up early?" And everybody was just waking up early, which was so unlike us. But we're doing something.
Yeah, I honestly love that for us.
So next up, we're gonna go into our pop culture segment. We're gonna be talking about some of the trendy topics that have been in the news lately.
So first, we're gonna talk about Billie Eilish's new album. I actually did not even write her album name in the show notes, so let me pull that up real quick. But while I do that, Liz, do you want to share some thoughts?
Yes, I am not like a hardcore Billie Eilish fan. Like I like her music and everything, but I don't keep up with her like too much. So when I saw that she dropped an album, I was caught off guard because I wasn't expecting it. But also, I love me some of her music, so I immediately had to listen to it. And I will just say, I love this album. I thought it was really, really good. I felt like I haven't really listened to it too much since my first listen, but there wasn't like one song that I was just like not vibing with. I felt like all around she had some good vibes going on.
Yeah, so I pulled it up. It's called Hit Me Hard and Soft. And I feel like I might have saw something about it, but I kind of just like disregarded it because like Liz, I'm not the biggest fan, but I do like her music. It's like the perfect sad girl music. And one of my favorites was a Wildflower, which Liz, have you heard the tea about that song?
I have not. Why don't you go ahead and then fill me in, Kennedy?
Okay, I got you. So you're aware of the brand Wildflower that makes the cases?
Yes, those overpriced cases that I always want one.
Real. She didn't mean the overpriced, please send us cases. But so basically, the founders of those are these two sisters, and one of them's name is Devin. And so Devin used to date a guy named Jesse, and Jesse also happens to be Billie Eilish's most recent ex. So this is where we kind of get into the messiness. So in the song, she talks about this guy who was just in a long relationship and they were together for a long time. Like in the song, she talks about you showed her the world, and Devin and Jesse they dated for like 7 years. I think it was a pretty long time, and then they just kind of like I guess just over time fell out of love or whatever. And then Billy starts dating him. But where it gets to some tea is Billy and Devin were friends. And in the song, it talks about you cried on my shoulder. And in the TikToks I've seen, there are pictures of Billy and Devin like all like buddy buddy, like they were friendly with each other. And then obviously, since Billy started dating her ex, they obviously just were not close anymore. I think they may be kind of friends now, but when they were dating, they weren't friends. And in the song, it kind of talks about how Devin is kind of like always in the back of her mind during her relationship with Jesse. So I was just like, wow, that is some tea.
The way my jaw just kept on dropping as you told that story, I had not heard none of that, and that is actually crazy. I feel like it's crazy to think about these like celebrities dating within the friend group because I feel like, that's like, I don't see it as like a celebrity thing to do, but it's an everybody thing, I guess.
Right. And like you would think, I think we regular people, I don't know how to say it, but like people that are not in Hollywood, we probably think Hollywood is bigger than it actually is. But when you think of like celebrities that live in LA, it's actually probably a smaller circle than you think. Because I'm also thinking, like, I wonder how the dynamic between Devin and Phineas's girlfriend Claudia was, because Devin's kind of in the influencer space, and so is Phineas's girlfriend Claudia. So I just wonder how that was because they're like, I don't think they're like besties, Claudia and Devin, but like they're obviously like friendly with each other when they see each other out. Like I've seen Devin in some of Claudia's vlogs and vice versa. So I just wonder how that dynamic was when it's like my boyfriend's sister is dating your ex and y'all were friends.
Definitely crazy to think about when it comes to these dating within the friend group. And even like friend group, sibling, like whatever it be.
Yeah, just very weird.
So our next little trendy topic is of course the It Ends With Us trailer. It dropped earlier this week and we have thoughts on it. So for those of you who don't know what It Ends With Us is or like what we're talking about, it is one of Colleen Hoover's most like popular books. Popular because people love it, but also it has a lot of backlash with it. So basically, from what I'm trying to remember, I don't remember all the characters' names, but the main girl, Lily, she ends up dating this guy. His name starts with an R, I'm pretty sure. I can't really remember.
Yeah,
And
Ryle.
yes, Ryle, there we go. And it ends up being a like abusive relationship. And then during this like time, she reconnects with Atlas, who is like her childhood boyfriend, not boyfriend, crush,
Yeah.
childhood lover or whatever.
Her first
And
love.
yes, that's what it is, her first love. And then it just kind of like progresses between her reconnecting with him, but also her going through her relationship with her partner that ends up turning into an abusive relationship. And it just kind of follows that in general. And the movie, for those of you who don't know, it's starring Blake Lively and what is his name? The guy from Jane the Virgin. My mind is blanking.
Justin something. Justin
Justin Baldoni.
Yeah, Baldoni, yes.
Yeah. So it stars both of them in it. And yeah, it's for us book readers, we've been waiting a minute for this. It was supposed to be released earlier, but then all the writer strikes happened. So it took a little longer than thought out, but the trailer has officially dropped and we have some thoughts.
Yeah. So honestly, going into the trailer, I was a little worried because I remember when they were filming initially for the first time before the strikes and stuff happened, there were definitely some questionable pictures that came out about their costuming and stuff. And even before then, I feel like it was a little like everyone was kind of like, "Ooh, we don't know how this is going to turn out because of the casting." They aged everybody up. And Atlas, I don't think the character or the actor who plays Atlas is necessarily what most people had in mind. At least for me.
I also
um
agree.
yeah, so that just wasn't like we weren't going in with high hopes, but honestly the trailer didn't look that bad to me. I know people are still having very controversial thoughts about this movie. Like I know some people have been like, well, first they don't like the book cuz they feel like it's romanticizing domestic violence. I guess everyone's entitled to their opinion, and I know some people had problems with like the race portion of the casting. Like I saw someone say like, "Oh, this seems like another white savior movie." Again, everyone's entitled to their own opinions. I don't think I necessarily did I don't necessarily agree with those, but that's just some of the things I've seen.
And I will say, from what we saw of the trailer, I feel like it seems to be following the book pretty closely. I definitely think if you haven't read the book before and you just watch the trailer kind of shows you everything that's gonna happen. But it seems to be following the book. Oh, and then they also had that Taylor Swift song in it, which I personally think that's all Blake Lively's doing. Like, her and Taylor are besties, so she pulled some strings for that.
Yeah, and what song was it? I forgot.
I want to say it's. Oh, hold on. I'm gonna say the wrong thing. I don't even remember, honestly.
It's like I can hear it in my head, but like I can't think of the title right now.
I just know it's a Taylor Swift song, and it's a good Taylor Swift song, I will say.
Yeah, it was good. Oh, and then I also remember some people said that like, oh, the trailer like really gives it away, which I don't know. I feel like I personally can't comment because like I've read the book, so like I definitely think they are staying true to um the book because really every scene I recognize. Like I remember reading about that. Like I visually remember that. But I feel like if you haven't read the book, like I don't think the trailer gives that much away. It was like giving snapshots of kind of like defining moments, I guess I would say.
I do agree with that. I feel like it was very like important moments, but it didn't like show how they all come together.
Yeah. Because there's a lot more to the story that I think a lot of people don't realize at first, in my opinion.
I definitely will be tuning in just because I'm very curious to see how it turns out.
Same.
So our next and final pop culture topic is, and Kennedy put this in here. I just found out about this today, bro. But Harry Styles and Taylor Russell apparently broke up.
Yeah,
Let's
question
just
mark,
take a
question
moment.
mark. Let's everyone take a
I would
moment of silence.
exactly. Let's mourn. Um, I remember I saw a TikTok about this today before I looked at the notes for the episode today, and I sent it to our friend Kelsey, who also is a Harry Styles stan with me. From like our opinion, I feel like it's fake. I feel like it is so random, you know? I don't know. First of all, I love Harry and Taylor. Second of all, Harry wanting to be a dad apparently, crazy. But I just don't think that they broke up. I just refuse to believe it.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out if it was real or not, and I just found out about this today on TikTok, and I just added it to our show notes today. But I actually have like an article from People put up, and it's like confusing. I'm not sure where people got the dad thing from because all I see, at least in the People article, is that they broke up after a trip that they took to Japan or something. And I saw TikToks about saying like, oh, they broke up because he wanted to be a dad, like he wanted to have kids, but she didn't. But I didn't see that in any of the articles, but that's what I've been seeing on TikTok. But I think if it is true that he wanted kids and she didn't, like, okay, like that's valid, but I'm just like, oh, I'm surprised he wants to be a dad, honestly, especially where he's at in his career. I'm not too much familiar with like Harry Styles. Like I like his music, but I don't keep up with him. But I just feel like the last time I heard of him, he was like doing a lot and his brand was doing a lot. Like I know Pleasing had a pop up in Texas, I think, not too long ago. So I don't know. I'm just like, do you really have the time to be a dad
I
right
feel
now?
like personally, I think Harry is in his ready to settle down era, but I don't really know. But tying this into something else that I'm just gonna add in really randomly, there is so many rumors of One Direction, like their reunion finally happening. Like Zayn's been talking about One Direction, which is crazy. Like I think all of the members are talking about One Direction or have mentioned One Direction except for Harry. So I'm gonna need Harry to get it together, please.
I would honestly be so down for a One Direction reunion. Like imagine them going back on tour. That would be perfect.
That would just heal everything that's wrong with me. So our next topic is, what are we watching? I have been waiting for this topic. I am so excited for this topic. I'm gonna switch up the order of the things we have on here, Kennedy, if you don't mind.
Oh no, that's fine. Oh, and we should probably put a disclaimer. And we're most likely gonna be like spoiling it. And
Oh
I
yeah,
put in the show notes.
I'll give you the three shows that we'll be talking about, and just go ahead and skip. I just won't be able to hold myself back from spoiling. It
Yeah,
is
just skip
Maxton
forward.
Hall, Bridgerton, and Iron Claw.
Yes.
Okay, so let's start off. Maxton Hall.
Wow. When I tell you this show took over TikTok, took over Liz's brain, took over my brain, and we're
When
here to
I
discuss it.
Exactly. When I tell you, am still thinking about this show. I'm going through withdrawals. It was so good. So for those of you who haven't heard about what Maxton Hall is, it is a Prime original. I would just want to say Prime is eating it up with the book to screen adaptations. They know what they are doing. So Maxton Hall, it's a German book, I believe.
Yeah, German.
And it's basically like a rich school, and it's this girl on scholarship who's there, and she sees something that she shouldn't have seen, and it just evolves from that. And more specifically, it becomes like an enemies to lovers situation, and I ate up every single moment of it.
Yeah, it was so good. Well, I'm not gonna lie. When I watched the first episode, I was like, I don't know how much I'm gonna like this. One, because I was just trying to get the language figured out. So I'm still confused even after finishing it because it's a German show. Like, it's a German book, yet it's set in England. Like, they talk about that one college that's in England.
Oxford.
Yeah, Oxford, yes, thank you. And then, like, they take the tube and, like, everything around them is, like, in English. Yet, I'm pretty sure the characters are speaking German, and, like, the show, like, title cards and stuff is literally in German. So, kinda confused there. But yeah, and me personally, if I was in the main character's position, I would have taken the money
Oh,
because
I
I
would have
love money.
folded so quick.
I know I would, like, say less. But yeah, it was just so like, everybody knows the iconic pool scene.
Oh my
That was
god.
my top
The
number
car
1.
scene, ugh, every scene, bruh, every single scene, I ate it up. The way I immediately after I finished, I had to go on TikTok and just look at all of the edits that were out. I sent Kennedy the amount of edits that I saved, and I'm not ashamed of it. This show is my new Roman Empire. I can't stop thinking about it. But you know what's amazing? Season 2 has been confirmed. It is going to be out there. They are getting on it.
Yes, they are putting them Germans to work. I'm like, that is actually crazy. Like, I'm not used to shows that I watch getting renewed so fast.
It
Like,
was literally like a week after it released.
yeah. And like, have you seen the pictures of like the two main characters outside of the show?
Girl, you already know that I have. I've seen the interviews too. The chemistry between those two characters on the screen was chef's kiss, immaculate. And off the screen, it continues.
It is just too good. And I'm actually really interested to see where the second season goes. The way it ended, I was like, wow, no way they left this on this cliffhanger with like the mom dying. And Mr. Sutton, I ain't even gonna lie, I was afraid of him in the beginning. Like when they showed him and James playing chess, I was like, oh wait. Like usually they show like the dads of like these rich kids, they're like really like disconnected, really mean. But then like after the dress scene and all that stuff, I was like, wow, he is really mean and I actually don't like him anymore.
Yeah, no. I'm oh, I hated him. And I have so many theories about that what's his name? The chauffeur. I have so many
Hmm.
theories about everything that went down in that season.
Oh wait, what kind of theories?
So, I don't know if you've seen, but according to the TikToks I have seen, there is a theory that the mom, the Beaufort, however you say that,
Yeah.
their mom, she like mentions to James when he's asking about like when you fall in love with someone, like blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
She mentions kind of like she had like a love, but she wasn't able to like pursue it or anything. And the theory is that her like actual like first love was the chauffeur driver. And she had to marry um their like current dad because that was like the right decision. Some people are taking it to the extent of saying that like the twins are the chauffeur's kids. I don't think that's true. I just think that he like loved the mom, so he had kind of had like a protectiveness towards them. But that's just
Mm-hmm.
me on that.
And that would make sense because I remember the scene where James got slapped by his dad, the chauffeur like stepped in and there was kind of like a hostile moment, but I just thought like, oh, it's the chauffeur. Like he just kind of views him as like under him. So he's probably like, what are you doing? Get involved in this. But if there's that extra added layer, I could definitely see that.
Yes, we will definitely have to stay tuned for season 2 and see what they're gonna do.
Yes. And then of course, next, Bridgerton, season 3. Netflix is dropping it in 2 parts, so we're gonna be talking about part 1.
I'll let you take it away, Kennedy, because I know my thoughts are kind of unpopular.
Yes. Well, actually, I don't think yours are unpopular. I just think I might be in the minority here, but I actually enjoyed this season so far. I know a lot of people haven't. I guess for me, why I liked it so much is one is friends to lovers. That is like one of my all-time favorite tropes. And personally, in the past 2 seasons, I've liked them. For me, I just get bored when we just focus on like one couple. But this season, we got like Colin and Penelope stuff, but then there's also a bunch of like other side plots. Like there's something going on with like this bartender, and I don't know, something about his son is like royalty or something. So now they are like higher up in society. I don't really know. We're seeing stuff happen with Benedict. That's his name, right? The other brother.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
Benedict.
And then we're seeing Francesca. It's her first like yeah. I think that's what they call like their season. There yeah, then there's just a bunch of other things going on, which I really like it because I get bored easily. So I just like a lot of things going on. And to me it was like a perfect amount of cringe, but like some good stuff as well.
I'll go ahead and go into some of my opinions. I do like how we're getting like multiple kind of stories. My complaint about that though is I feel like we're really rushing through it. Like we're focusing too much on too many stories and not on the main story, you know? Like I feel like it should be, obviously Penn and Colin, they're the main focus, and then you have like little subplots. But I feel like it's kind of like they're all on the same level to me, you know? So that was like my complaint about all the storylines. I definitely feel like some of them kind of feel random right now. Like kind of how Kennedy brought up the bartender man, how like they get all this money or whatever. I'm curious to see if we're gonna get like more progression with that in part two, because right now I'm just like, what's the point of that, you know? And then my complaint, my biggest complaint, I do not like the storyline between Colin and Penn right now. I don't know. I feel like the trailer really hyped it up. Like I was excited. Don't get me wrong. I was so ready for this friends to lovers trope. But just seeing how it's played out so far, I'm just not vibing with it. Like Colin is giving me the biggest ick and the biggest like red flag. And before anyone comes at me, I know that it's like part of the story because like he's fitting into like society standards and everything, and like he's not being true to himself. But I just feel like you really have to look into it to get that impression, you know? I feel like I should be able to tell that that's what it is instead of having to like look at all these TikToks and like explanations and like deep dives. I just feel like it's just missing that like extra oomph, that like I don't know, it's missing something to really deliver, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I can definitely see where you're going with it seems a bit rushed, especially because it ended with the cliffhanger of him being like, "Oh, do you want to marry me?" Which I just freaking knew was coming. But the way I see it is I'm just seeing it similar to like The Summer I Turned Pretty, where it's like kind of more of a slow build over the years. And just now he's kind of seeing her in that light just because of whatever circumstances, like her changing her looks and him helping her trying to find a husband. And I don't know. To me, I just like am not looking too deep into it, but I don't know. I think it's sweet, but I did really like Penelope and the other guy that was her love interest. I forgot his name.
Completely forgot his name, but the vegetarian pro
Yeah, it starts
environment
with
man.
yeah, it starts with a D. I really liked him. I think they were actually a pretty good match. But yeah, but I'm a little scared because it
See?
like I guess you can say we're ending off on a good note. But obviously Penelope being Lady Whistledown is obviously gonna come out. And I'm just
Yes,
not
and
ready for that.
I think it's really gonna add some more development to their love story or whatever. I just feel like it was just missing, like it felt so rushed to me. I don't know. I feel like kind of like with the other love interests, we kind of got more like scenes of them together and like them actually having conversation rather than like Penelope and Colin. I feel like it's just been very like surface level conversation. So hopefully, I have high hopes for the second season, not second season, part two, and that it'll just really bring everything full circle.
Yes. And I think it will deliver, hopefully. Can we just talk about how Anthony and Kate, they just like dropped off after episode 2?
Yes, I thought I was the only one who was confused. Like, I understood that they brought up the whole honeymoon thing, but I was expecting them to, like, I don't know, bring it up to the family or, like, say a little goodbye. But no, that was the last we saw of them.
Right, like, we didn't get no type of goodbye scene, it was really like, "Okay, one scene, we move on to other things," and then you realize by, like, the 4th episode, "Oh, we haven't seen them in a while."
Like, oh, they actually went on that honeymoon. It wasn't just a
Right.
conversation. So our next TV show or watch is Iron Claw. Kennedy, you can take this away because I don't think I've seen this.
No, I don't think you have. I don't know why I said that. But, yeah, I watched Iron Claw a couple of days ago, and it's a sports drama movie. Zac Efron's in it, Jeremy Allen White's in it, Lily James, so pretty stacked cast. And it was pretty good. I don't know what I would rate it though. I'm really bad at rating movies. in TV shows. I would give it maybe like a 3 out of 5. It's based off a true story about this wrestling family, which I know does not sound interesting, but like the story behind it is really interesting. Basically, this family, I guess you could say, is cursed, and you might be like, "Oh, a cursed family, blah blah blah." But when I tell you, this family has surely been through every type of tragedy, and I don't really know how to like talk about it without spoiling it, but I'm gonna just say this. The movie starts out with what, like 5 brothers, and by the end of it, only one is alive. So,
I know exactly what movie you're talking about now, and it has been on my list since I saw the trailer. So I'll definitely have to check it out.
yeah, it's on HBO Max.
Mm. HBO Max will be seeing me tonight.
Yeah, it's really good, but very sad.
So next up, we're gonna go into our song of the week. So Kennedy, what have you been listening to?
So, I've still kind of been on my house music wave. I don't know. I'm like slowly getting into like my summertime sadness type song vibes, but this song, I don't know how to pronounce it, but I'm gonna try to say it and then like spell it out for y'all. But it's Shay Go 3 by Chauncey and MC Magrinho. And it's like a mashup between like house music and like Brazilian funk. So it's in Portuguese. So I don't know. I think it's a vibe.
Mm,
It's, it's
I'll
not,
definitely have to check that out. Something
yeah,
about like the foreign music, it has just been doing it for me this summer.
right. Like I have no idea what they're saying, but I'm bopping. I'll play like a couple seconds for you guys so you get the vibe. I'm gonna just put it in a random spot. So yeah, that's a little bit of it. You should definitely listen to it.
So my current listen to has been it's also a different language song. It's a Spanish song. It's called Gata Only and it's by Foy Menor and Chris MJ. And this song has just been like good vibes. Like it's kind of makes me want to like bob my head a little bit, roll down my windows and drive at night. Um, every time I get in my friend Jill's car, I swear, every single time I'm in that car, this song comes on. It's like it knows I'm in the car. So I'm gonna play a couple seconds of it for you guys. You see, it puts me in a good vibe, I feel like.
I feel like I need to be on a beach listening to that song.
Exactly. And that's what I just see manifesting when I'm listening to it.
So, next we're going to get into our current reads. So, Liz, what have you been reading, girl?
So, last night I finally finished the book that I was talking about, and the last episode, The Fake Mate, which was like the werewolf, doctor, fake dating trope book, and I finished it. You know, it wasn't a bad book. It just wasn't what I was looking for. I think I rated it between like 2.5 stars to 3. You know, nothing memorable, but it wasn't bad either. Like it was good in the moment. So right now I am in a book slump. I I'm in a book slump. I need to get out of it. I think what it is that I've been reading on my Kindle, like strictly on my Kindle, and I've been reading books that I only download on on my Kindle, so I don't have like physical copies of them. And I think that is what has been putting me in the slump. Like something about not being able to physically turn the page on my book or like read on my Kindle and then go to my book and move my bookmark. It's just something about that hasn't been working for me. So I think I'm going to be placing an Amazon order tonight and hopefully I'm going to get out of that book slump. So I'm going to mention some of the books in my cart right now. So I have Powerless. I want to get the Natural series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. She's the one who wrote the Inheritance Games series. I also want to do the ACOTAR box set, and then I want to do Abby Jimenez. So I want to get Part of Your World, and then Just for the Summer because I have the second book in that little book series or whatever. But that's my little book update.
Yeah, and you should definitely add a microphone in that car.
Oh, don't worry. It's already in there.
Oh, but yeah, and I also have the Natural series, so we might have to do like a whole series deep dive on that in the future when we both read it.
Mhm. I've heard so many good things about it.
Same. So, in terms of what I'm reading, I'm currently in the middle of a thriller book that I actually mentioned last week, and it's called In My Dreams I'll Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead. And I don't think I got into details about what it's about, but basically, there's this group of friends. They were all in college together, and they're all kind of like different personalities, come from different backgrounds, but they're all friends. And I think during their senior year of college, one of them ends up getting murdered, but it doesn't really necessarily end up getting solved. And so, time passes, it's 10 years later, and now it's time for the reunion. And they all end up going back. A lot has changed in their life. So we're seeing that. And it kind of flashes back to then and now. And so the now is like them at the reunion, and it's just like interesting because like a lot of old feelings are getting digged up, the past is getting digged up, especially about the murder, and it's just really interesting so far now that we're getting into it. And then the past is kind of like them back in college, and like their lives a couple years after the murder and like the day of the murder. And honestly, I don't know what to think. Like, it's good, but I don't know, the story is still building up. Hopefully, I'll finish it by the next time we record and I can give y'all more thoughts.
And with that, we are going to get into the main focus of our episode, our unpopular bookish opinions and regular opinions too. So, my first unpopular bookish opinion is spice can be overdone and ruin a book. I feel
I
like
100% agree.
sometimes, and I feel like lately, I don't know, maybe that's why I wasn't buying with the fake mate that much. But I feel like when we have so many spice chapters back to back to back, it doesn't do it for me. It becomes boring.
Yes, and it just gets so repetitive. And I've noticed with like all the romance books, I feel like a lot of the spicy scenes are like kind of the same. Like I can like sit here and tell you guys exactly how it's gonna go down right now in any book. And I'm just like, okay, if we're gonna do that, at least make it like different, original, something interesting. And honestly, most of the times I just like skip through it because I'm like, yeah, this is just taking up time. Like I do not care about this.
Yes, agreed. I 100% will just skip through it. Especially like, don't get me wrong, like I love the first like spice scene because it's like the build up to it. But
Hmm.
then after like the third, I'm like so over it. Like it's the same thing over and over. Like, please, let's get something else in here.
Yes, and I feel like it's only good when it's like a proper build up to it. When like they haven't known each other, it's just kind of like what? And
Yeah.
when it's like randomly placed, like one minute they're like talking, the next thing you know they're going at it, and I'm like, whoa, what are we
Yes,
doing?
I agree. So spice can ruin a book.
My first unpopular bookish opinion is I like reading about toxic relationships over mature ones. Listen, don't shoot me. But it's just like so much more interesting because there's just so much more going on. Like what I like the first book that comes to mind that made me realize this opinion is Icebreaker, which I'm sure everyone who's listening to this has heard about. And you guys have probably also heard how, oh, the communication in the book is just so good, yada, yada, yada. And it is, which to me made the book literally so boring. I was like, blah, blah, blah. Can we get a fight or something? Which is so bad because I would never think that about like a real relationship. But when it comes to reading, give me a little something, something.
You see, low key, I see where you're coming from, Kennedy. Like something about the toxic, especially let me like rephrase. When it's a toxic relationship, but there's character development, that's
Yep,
when I'll like eat it up. Like
yep.
it just needs, you need to see your characters grow. They can't just be perfect.
Exactly. Heavy on the character development. That's why I think I have liked the Magnolia Park series so far. Cause yeah, it's super toxic, but it's entertaining and I can definitely from what I've heard, there's character growth. I haven't seen that yet because I'm still in the beginning, but I'm excited to see that in the future.
My next unpopular opinion is has to do with not trying to break the spine of a book. Personally, I feel like we shouldn't be reading in uncomfortable positions just because we're trying to not break the spine of a book. Like, I'm not saying go and like destroy your book, but it's okay if it looks like you read it.
Heavy on that it's okay if it looks like you read it. Honestly, the spine is something I don't really ever think about. Like one thing about me is I'm gonna make sure the book open as much as I need to so my hands aren't hurting. Like it's just like so uncomfortable if you don't break the spine. And honestly, I like the more like worn look of a book. Like I like when a book looks like you've actually read it because we spent money on these books. So,
And it just shows that you liked the book. Even if you didn't love it, it shows that you gave it a chance.
mhm. There's nothing wrong with a book being obvious that it was loved. And then my next opinion is I do not mind people on covers. Some of you might be really shook right now. But yeah, for me, honestly, that is just not a big deal to me at all. I know some people will literally, I swear, have a panic attack if there's people on the covers, but honestly, I don't care.
You know, I will just have to agree to disagree with you on that one. My next unpopular opinion is that the cheating trope does not belong in a book. I feel like no matter I don't know, I just feel like I have never read a book with a cheating trope in it where I've been like, that added something to the book.
No, cheating tropes. Let's stop doing cheating tropes within the next year or so. Like it's just so unnecessary and like I know everyone has their own personal opinions about cheating and blah blah blah. But for me personally, cheating is like a deal breaker in real life. So like reading about it, I'm just like, yeah, I would never. And it honestly just takes the enjoyment out of a book because it's like, girl, stand up, don't get back with this cheater.
Exactly. And especially when they use the cheating trope as the third act breakup and then they get back together after it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like you really
It
could have done something else.
exactly. It just rubs me the wrong way.
And then my next opinion is annotating a book is too much work. I will never be one of those girlies that is sitting there with a pen and highlighters. Like it looks aesthetic, but honestly, I used to like the look of annotated books, but honestly, I don't think I do anymore. It's just like too much. And it honestly just adds more time to reading a book. Like I'm already kind of a slower reader. So to like be annotating and even just simply tabbing is just too much work. So I'm gonna just leave that to the aesthetic book girlies. But me personally, I will not be annotating anytime soon.
I agree too. I feel like just because when you read a book and you reread it, I feel like there's different lines that just hit differently, and once you like annotate it, it's like, oh, that's the only thing that stuck out. I
Yeah,
have to agree with you.
yeah.
My next unpopular opinion is that the enemies to lovers trope, it belongs in the fantasy world. I feel like half of the contemporary romance books that try to do the enemies to lovers trope, they just don't do it right. Like it's too rushed or like there's something missing. But something about enemies to lovers in a fantasy book, they just know how they're doing it. They know how to do it right.
See, this is one I might have to agree to disagree. To me, I don't know. I don't know. I think I just don't take it too I don't know. I don't want to say like too seriously, but I don't know. I just like don't mind it in regular romance books.
Don't get me wrong, I will eat it up either way, but just something about it being in that fantasy book, it just hits different for me.
Yeah, I can definitely see that because the stakes are higher. My next opinion is I do not mind hardcovers. I know a lot of people hate hardcovers, and I definitely have had my frustration, especially when books in a series look different. But in general, I do not mind hardcovers. Like, especially if it's the cheapest option on Amazon, I'm gonna get the hardcover.
Oh, me too. I will always go with the cheapest option. Going off of Kennedy's, my next unpopular opinion is I feel like it's not really unpopular, it's a pretty popular opinion. But my next opinion is that book series should all come out the same. So if you're releasing hardcovers, they should all be hardcovers. If you're releasing paperbacks, they should all be paperbacks. And the sizes have to match. I hate it when they switch it in the middle of a series and it just doesn't match with the rest of the books. Like, why would you do that?
Yeah, it's literally so stupid. I don't understand the thought process, especially because I know in other countries, like I know Australia, new releases always come out in paperbacks. I do know it's like a little bit bigger than your standard paperback, but it's still paperback. My next opinion is Stupid third act breakups ruin a book. Now, third act breakups are annoying in general, but there's sometimes where it's like, okay, this is reasonable. Like, I can understand this. But when it's just simply like you can tell the author just kind of like made something up just to have something, that's literally what I hate. Like, I love Abby Jimenez books, but her third act breakups are the reason why her books will probably never be 5 stars for me because they actually kill me that much. Like, I literally can't take it.
Also have to agree. I feel like sometimes the third act breakup, it just pops up for no reason. And I'm like, what was the point of that? We could have been having some good, happy character development instead of this.
And I would just prefer, like, maybe we have a conflict in 1 to 2 chapters and then, we have a healthy like a healthy conversation about it and then we move on. But then, no, these authors, they want to have something that lasts 5 chapters and then finally in the last chapter they make up. I'm like, no, I did not read this book for that. I need more.
And then I agree. And then half the time I feel like a breakup is like the last resort, but they take it as the first option. Like,
Right. Like, what
geez.
are we doing?
My next opinion is that just because you read quote unquote the classics doesn't mean you have better taste in books than other people. Like, I personally, I'm not one to be reading all of the classics, but I'm not saying my taste in books is exquisite and amazing, but I feel like I shouldn't be judged for it too.
Exactly. I just don't understand why people are trying to be pretentious about reading. It's literally words on paper. Let people read what they want to read. It's not affecting your life, so who cares? And I feel like my next opinion kind of can fall under the same category of people judging other people's taste, I guess. But mine is books cannot be quote unquote overhyped. I feel like I see that term thrown around. People are like, "Ugh, this book is so overhyped. I did not like it." But I disagree. I feel like another way to look at it is it's not overhyped, it's not bad, it just personally wasn't for you. Like a book is popular for a reason because obviously people like it resonates with a lot of people, and it just didn't for you. And that's okay. Not everything has to be for you. And that's what is great about reading is it is all subjective.
100% agree with that. My next opinion is book stickers do not belong on books. That is my biggest pet peeve is when I go to get a new book and there's a sticker on it and I have to carefully take it off so that it doesn't leave any residue. Like, why would you put a sticker on it?
Yeah, and it's actually so annoying because half the time they're actually so hard to take off.
Or you get like half of it off and then there's that one little piece that leaves residue and it's just like,
Yes. Oh
why?
my gosh. So annoying. Authors, let's stop doing that, please. And then my next opinion is accidental pregnancy and single parent tropes are not it. Listen, I may change my mind in the future, but I just think it's because personally for me, I do not find that type of life desirable at this time. Considering I'm 20, I do not really like kids at the moment. Like I obviously want kids in the future, but that is just nowhere near my mind. So I just do not want to read about it. And that's as simple as it is.
I agree with the accidental pregnancy, but I don't know, something about the what was the other trope you said?
Single parent tropes.
Something about the single parent trope. It just be hitting sometimes. Don't get me wrong, it's not like a 6-star read, but
Hmm.
it just be good.
Yeah, I just don't really like reading about kids. So, but I will say there have been some kids in books. I'm like, oh, wait, you're actually like not bad. Like getting reminders of him. There's a kid.
Yes, I remember that. My next unpopular opinion is that book to TV adaptations need to be done right. If you're not gonna do it right or finish the series, don't do it at all.
And that is specifically towards you, Netflix.
Yes, Netflix cannot do it. They should stop signing book adaptations. Prime, on the other hand, Prime, you can continue all you want. You are doing just fine.
Even though I low key got beef with Prime because they canceled my show, Shelter. It was so good. But everything else that they've done was really good, like Daisy Jones and the Six and Somebody Turned Pretty, all those fire. And then this is my last bookish. unpopular opinion, and that is cowboy romances are not it. I will say I have only read one, but it was really boring. I gave it like a 3-star read. Can you remember which one it was? I think it was like Flawless or something. One of those in the Chestnut Spring series, whichever one is the first book. It's kind of boring. And I think one of them is like a single dad trope. I'm like, yeah, no. I'm just not into that whole cowboy, western, country vibe. I'm like, listen, I live in Kentucky. I'm around that country stuff all the time. I do not want to read about it. I'm going to escape when I read.
See, I personally I ate up the single dad trope one. I thought it was so good. But yes, I do think that some of them, like the cowboy romances or whatever, some of them are just hit or miss for me. So my next unpopular opinion, I have three more, so I'll just go through them. My first one is it's okay to not binge read a book. I feel like nowadays when a new book release comes out that's been heavily anticipated, it's expected for everyone to finish that book like the same day you got it. And it's okay to not finish it that quick. It's okay to enjoy it and like be busy with other things because let's be real, reading books sometimes takes up a lot of time. So it's okay to not binge read a book.
I feel like if for people that are like really into like the book side of social media, I can definitely have seen where people kind of like compare themselves with other like people whose full-time jobs are literally to read. So they obviously like read a lot more and could binge a book. And I'm like, y'all, it's okay. We can savor a book. It's reading, it's supposed to be fun.
My next opinion is we do not need to have five special editions of one book. Like I do enjoy when a special edition of a book is released and it has like um chapters that weren't in it from like a different POV. I love that. But I feel like we don't need to have five different special editions of one book where it's a minute thing that is changed. Like me personally, I can't afford to be buying five books of the same book.
Yeah, I personally would never buy a whole new book just for like an extra chapter.
And now we're going to be going into our regular unpopular opinions. You can go ahead and start, Kennedy.
Okay. I feel like honestly both of our like regular unpopular opinions, it seems like we both have stuff to get off of our chest. So bear with this. But my first one is don't kill me. Social media isn't the problem. People are. Now listen. Hear me out. So I feel like there's this whole narrative around specifically I'm gonna probably be focusing more like Instagram when I'm discussing social media, but we can like use social media as like an umbrella term as well. But I just feel like there's a whole narrative about how social media just causes a lot of like mental health issues and all that in people, which I am definitely very sensitive to. I myself struggle with that. And I definitely think being on social media a lot can make someone's mental health worse. But I don't think it's necessarily Instagram's fault. I think it's more issues from the user. Like for example, for me personally, like I used to not really like going on Instagram. I don't know, I just didn't like not like going on my feed. But I feel like you really just have to be proactive because your social media is literally what you want to see. So if you don't like some of the things you're seeing, then you should probably work to just cleanse your social media. So for me, that meant unfollowing a bunch of accounts of people that I don't like, don't care to see their posts, and only following accounts that either make me feel good or that I'm actually interested in seeing their content. Like I mostly follow just a bunch of influencers and celebrities that I like. I barely follow people that I know because I just do not care to see any of that. And honestly, it just makes Instagram and everything else a lot more enjoyable. And I feel like a lot of things that people complain about are more like issues with themselves instead of Instagram's fault. Like I feel like one thing is people get wrapped up in the comparison of social media, which I get, which is why I'm like you should like, cleanse your social media, like who you follow and stuff. But I think that's also something you should work on within yourself because it's like, okay, you delete your social media accounts. Okay, so now you're not comparing yourself to randoms on the internet, but now you're going to be comparing yourself to people, in real life. Like, I just think about going to school and just seeing people and be like, oh, I wish I had that. I wish I had that. And same could go in terms of looks because I know that's been a huge topic about how social media affects girls' perceptions of themselves. And again, that definitely is something that can be worsened by social media. But I think there's more to the problem than using social media as the full source.
I definitely think that you touched on some like really important topics with that. I honestly hadn't really thought of like the social media isn't the problem, people are, or at least like I had thought about it, but not really put that phrase over it, you know? So
Hmm.
I definitely do have to agree with that. My next unpopular opinion is different brands of water taste the same to me. Like Fiji water, I don't know, Life water, Evian, all those waters, they be tasting the same to me. They just, I don't know. It's just water to me.
From an avid water drinker, I'm just gonna have to disagree. Liz obviously doesn't drink enough water. Everyone knows water tastes differently. Like smart water is my favorite water. Like just so good. Like I swear there is a difference. Like if you know, you know. And
Mm,
then
maybe I just gotta up my water intake.
yeah, you might have to do that. But I feel like you get more of a stark difference. Like we're about to get real technical here. If like the difference between like filtered water and like spring water, I feel like that's more noticeable for sure than like two brands of like filtered water. And then my next one, I know Liz is gonna not agree with this one, and that is if you watch Little Women, that Lori belongs with Amy, not Joe. And that is because I feel like Joe obviously does not like Lori. She just saw him as a friend the whole time. I mean, we all saw that iconic scene where he was like confessing his love, and I will say that scene ate that monologue ate. But I just think it was meant to be Amy at the end. Joe was just Joeing. And I don't think it would have worked out.
Joan is a funny phrase indeed. We're just gonna have to agree to disagree. My next opinion is denim skirts are not it. Now, don't get me wrong, some people can work the denim skirt look. They know what they're doing. But I feel like overall, denim skirts are not it. I feel like they're trying to make a comeback. They were left behind in the early 2000s and now they're making a comeback, but I just don't think that they're it.
The way Liz is just dragging everybody right now. And the way I just bought a denim skirt too.
And I feel like you will look amazing in it, Kennedy.
Don't hype me up. But yeah, I could definitely see because even with the skirts that I've tried on, like definitely not all of them look great on. So I definitely see where you're coming from though. Now my next one. This is something that has been on my mind for the past couple of days. I'm not gonna get into two specifics of why, but we're just gonna get into it. So if your fave is dating someone who you perceive as a quote unquote bad person, they probably are too. Let that sink in. Like, I swear to God. So, there's this person that I've seen on the internet, and they're rumored to be dating someone who is allegedly not a great person. And the people are upset, but I'm like, well, how good of a person could like your favorite celebrity be if they're willing to date someone who is like that? And it's like, okay, the celebrity might not be whatever, but like they're at least complacent in it and don't see a problem with it. So I just think that's something we should keep in mind.
My next opinion is that just because it's a designer brand does not make it cute. And by this, I mean like YSL, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, like all those name brands. Just because it has that name brand, designer brand logo does not mean it is cute.
Yep, and I hate when the logo is just in your face. Like I think luxury items can look good when it's more low key.
I agree. I'm a luxury item low key person. I don't like it when it's like all over it.
But honestly, I feel like I don't really like designer clothes, honestly. I feel like if I were to buy a designer item, it would definitely be like a purse or jewelry.
I also agree. I don't know, something about like a regular t-shirt with a designer name on it, it just kind of gives me like tacky vibes.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking, very tacky. And then this one, okay, I don't really know if this is necessarily an unpopular opinion, but more of a statement. But just because I saw a TikTok about it, it was in my mind. But if you're a but they didn't do it to me type of person, you're weird. We need to cut that out. You should have loyalty to your friends.
Yep. Kennedy is speaking facts right there. My next opinion is chain coffee shops are not it. Specifically, like a Dunkin' and Starbucks, I just feel like they're kind of out, you know? I don't know. I feel like I would rather go to a local place and spend the same amount of money and it just tastes better, you know? Like, specifically, if I'm, like, trying to get a matcha, there's this local bakery, and they, like, use an actual, like, bamboo whisk to mix to mix the matcha. Like, I'd rather spend my money on that than going to, like, Starbucks or Dunkin' and paying for a matcha. So, I will just say that those name brand chain coffee shops, they're going out of style.
I can't lie, I do be getting the chains a lot just cuz out of like convenience, but I do agree the coffee at like more local places definitely tastes a lot better. And speaking of matcha, I'm really trying to get into matcha, so I'm gonna have to go to that place you talking about and get some matcha while I'm home for the summer at one point.
Oh, I got you. I'll send you my order.
Bet. And then my next opinion is ASMR is not satisfying. I actually hate ASMR with my whole body. I just hate little sounds like that. Like it makes me actually uncomfortable and I feel unsettled. I don't understand how people find it satisfying. I don't know what it is, but it just will never be something for me.
You know, I have to agree. I feel like a lot of the ASMR videos, they just give me like automatic goosebumps. And I will never go out of my way to look up an ASMR video.
Yeah, me neither.
My next opinion is I wouldn't say this is very unpopular. I feel like a lot of people would agree with this, but the new cup every month trend, it needs to go. The way it is the same cup but with a different brand and a slightly different shape, like they all need to go.
Yep. It started off with Hydro Flask and then Yetis and then Stanley's, Awalas, and now I'm seeing stuff about that Brewmate.
Yep, that like Stanley dupe or whatever. I feel
Mhm.
like out of all of those cup trends, the only one that's like actually I would purchase is an Awala.
Yes, I really want an Awala. I feel like for me that's just like the most practical.
Agreed, agreed.
And then my next, this is something I've talked about before with like my friends and then my roommate for next year, but it is comedy is my least favorite genre, which sounds very weird coming from me because one thing about me, like I love to laugh. I'm always laughing at something. So you would think comedy is one of my favorite genres, but I actually hate it so much. I don't know what it is. It's just something about that forced comedy. I'm like, okay, this is cringe. This is not funny. Like so many of those popular comedy movies people like, and I'm just like, this is quite literally the like least funniest thing I've ever watched. For example, like I know a lot of people like the movie Grown Ups, did not like it. And it like sucks because every time my brother comes into town, he always wants to watch movies and he always wants to watch comedy movies, and I would literally rather die. And he's coming in town Thursday or Friday, I think. And I swear to God, if he suggests a comedy movie, I'm gonna lose my mind. But I'm not like completely off of comedy. I think I like more like sitcom type. Like whatever type of comedy is Modern Family, In the Office, and Friends. I like that type of humor. But anything else, I am not a fan of.
I have to agree with you, Kennedy. I feel like, I don't know, something about like the movie, like American comedy, I just don't find it funny. Maybe because I've grown up in like a Mexican household, but American comedy, it just don't be funny to me. I just be looking at them like, what are you laughing about?
Right.
My
And it's like,
next opinion. Oh, sorry, continue.
no, you're good. I was just gonna say, and it's always like the most stupidest things.
Yes, it is so dumb. And I'm like, are we really laughing about that? My next opinion, my last one actually, is that not every TV show needs a 5 minute long sex scene. I feel like all of the TV shows that have been released in the last couple of years, they just have like long sex scenes, and it's just like, I just be skipping it. Like, I don't want to be watching this.
Yes, I feel like there has just been some type of rise where literally every single show, no matter what type of genre, there's gonna be a sex scene. I'm like, was this really needed? And it honestly makes it hard to like find stuff to watch because I'm like, I do not want to see that. Like, it's just not the vibe. And it's like worse when it's like it's just there for quite literally no reason. And then this is the last unpopular opinion for the episode. and that is let's stop trying to make cheetah print happen. Listen, me and Liz, we're from Kentucky, so that's like kind of the South. Not really. It depends on who you're talking to. To me, it's not the South. But I feel like in Southern culture or whatever, cheetah print really made a comeback like a couple years ago, like when we were in high school. And I feel like low key, I'm starting to see it slowly come back. Like, I've seen people wear like cheetah print dresses and stuff. And then I know there's this really popular pair of Adidas that are cheetah print. And I'm like, listen, cheetah print and honestly any other animal print, let's let it die. We are not living in a zoo. I like other prints, but animal print is just not it. I think to me, it just always seems like cheap and tacky. But you know what? If you like it, you like it. But for me, I do not like it.
Yeah, 100% agree with Kennedy. I don't know, I think it's something about just like being in Kentucky and seeing the way I see like from little kids wearing it to like grown adults. I'm like, it should not be among all of you ages wearing it, you know? It's tacky. It's absolutely not.
Yeah. And the way these older women, it's like they have a cheetah print shirt, their Apple Watch band is cheetah, their scrunchies cheetah, their flats are cheetah. I'm like, y'all, it is not that cute. It is not.
And with that, that is all of the unpopular opinions that are on our mind right now.
Yeah, and feel free to like share your opinions on our Instagram post, or if you're watching the YouTube version, comment down your opinions as well.
And definitely third time trying to record, third time's a charm. You know, we got
Yep.
through it.
Definitely sounds a lot better. My computer is on the verge of dying though, but other than that, we made it out good.
And we hope to see you guys next Wednesday with our episode 3 drop.
Yes. And make sure before you leave, we're gonna talk about it again. Make sure to rate and review, like, comment, subscribe, anything. Go follow our TikTok and our Instagram, and everything like always will be in the show notes below.
And with that, we hope to see you guys next Wednesday on the Girls Lounge with Liz and KT.
Bye.